Jesus came and he started this thing called church. In Matthew chapter 16, Jesus said, I will build my church. He didn't say, hey, I might build my church. Hey, I'm thinking about building a church. Is there anybody available who could volunteer and make this thing happen? He said, I'm going to do it. I am doing it. I have done it. This is going to be going on forever. If you want to be a part of it, you can. And later on, he gave his life for his church. He literally laid down his very life for it. But unfortunately, a lot of times we struggle to lay down 1 hour a week for it. We lament that. It's something so valuable and so vital and so important to the life of our families within our church is to be all in on this thing. There's often pushback here where people say, well, you don't become a Christian by going to church. And I agree. But I think you really struggle to remain one without being part of church. And I think when we don't set that as a priority in our families will struggle to remain passionately in love with Jesus if they're not coming to church. It's really hard to teach it as a priority if it's not one to us. Years ago, when our band was first starting out, we had recorded at this one studio a couple times, put out a couple CDs, and then we had this opportunity to have a CD come out in stores across Canada, and so we were really excited, and so we decided we're going to go to this kind of nicer, bigger studio. But before that, we went to the original studio, and we decided to record some of our demos there to prepare to record this record. And the guy at the studio was kind of disappointed that we were choosing a different studio rather than us, and he expressed that. He is bummed that we've decided to go to this other studio. And I remember us telling him, like, dude, we love you, and we think your studio is awesome, and we're going to record there, but we're going to tell people that they should still record here, like other bands that we know and stuff. And I still remember this. This is a long time ago, but he's like, Ryan, it's really hard to tell people to wear Converse when you wear Nikes all the time. And it's true. It's really hard to say to kids, hey, church is a priority. These things are a priority when we slough it off all the time. Or not even just your kids, anybody in your family. I talk to a lot of families who say, I'm having kids. I'm thinking about trying to go to church because that's important for them. You want your kids to buy into the fact that church is important for them? Go to church. Be a part of a faith community. Do faith together in community. You won't even need to tell your kids. You still should, but they'll get it. I was recently reading this article written by this guy who works for Orange, who puts out our kids' curriculum. And he's talking about how nowadays church and youth group have become such an elective, such an option. We just throw that in the hands of our kids. It was actually funny. I read the article, and then I read the comments on the blog, and there were lots of parents saying, yeah, we just let our kids choose. And so it was really funny because it's like, but this article is just talking about the dangers of doing this, because church and community, God's design is vital to our spiritual health. God's design is vital to pursuing the fruition of what he designed it for. I mean, you can't get to the end of his design without following the plans of his design. I was kind of talking about this 2 weeks ago with the whole Lego thing. If you were here in second service 2 weeks ago, you got a bit of an anatomical lesson from me as well, accidentally. If you weren't here, you can catch it on YouTube. It was a bit of a fail. But we've made it such an elective. We've decided that church is an elective and an option that should flex around our extracurricular activities, when really our extracurricular activities should be the elective and the option that flex around us pursuing faith and community the way that God designed us to pursue it.